So tell me how things have been.
Yes, the thing I would like to discuss with you is the following. Um, so, as I told you before, the last months, I I don't suffer anymore. I mean, whatever happens doesn't have the power to disturb me, which is great.
Great.
Life is easy that way.
Mm.
But there's a but here. I never felt this shift in perception. This didn't happen to me. This shift in perception to feel like I'm not human. I don't feel, I feel localized still. It's
Mm.
like I have, I feel like I have, I found a way to be happy,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I still feel like I'm a localized spirit. I don't feel like,
Okay.
you know, awareness.
Well, the main aspect is that the suffering has ended, because
Yeah.
what that shows is that you're functioning mainly from the body of wisdom or effortless being. So that's the main aspect. So all it means is there's a little residue, which is a kind of habit in a way of the personal realm, and for there to be a sense of localization. For each of us, there is a sense of localization because it's part of the human experience. That doesn't really ever go away. It's always there as an option, but you can also experience as a field of awareness. So let's just have a look at that for a moment, see what we can
Yes.
do. So
Sometimes I hear you and other teachers say that, can you find the me? And it feels like I can find the me because, I
yeah,
feel there's a me around somewhere around here. And that
well, really, I can
confuses.
only speak really in my own terms. I can't really refer to other teachers, but what I would say is that self-realization is simply a case of mistaken identity. So the sense the sense of me, so everything that we have experienced through life, because our true nature can never go away, it's always fully here. But because we're playing a game of hide and seek in the dualistic realm, the the sense of our true infinite nature, the existence of our true infinite nature, has been called me when actually it never was. So that's the sense you have of existing. So it's presence, awareness, existence. So there's a sense of presence in this timeless moment. There's awareness, and that awareness is an infinite field within which all forms appear. And then there's a sense of existence, which is what you describe as the sense of me.
Yes,
But
the
the
sense
sense
of
of me,
being, like
yes,
existence,
the sense,
presence,
pardon?
presence, the sense of
Yes,
presence.
exactly. So what you know wholeheartedly to be the sense of me actually never was a sense of you as an individual. It's been the sense of you as the infinite, timeless, impersonal being. That's really what's being known. It's just that in the dualistic realm, it's as though a trick's been played on us, where we've been told that it's a little me when it never was. But you've known fully the sense of your infinite nature all along. That's all you've ever known. So so everyone has a sense of existence. When we have that sense of existence and we know it to be impersonal being, then people call that realization. But everyone is knowing that sense of existence, but most people are experiencing it as a sense of existence of me, which they think is a personal me, which it never was. And it never becomes a personal me. So there's nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah. So yeah. So this feeling is the existence of the infinite being, right?
Yeah, what you know, what you're knowing to be the sense of me is the existence of your infinite nature, and it actually has no boundaries. So part of the conditioning we've had is the idea that it's the me and that we inhabit a body. But we can change the nature of that experience when we look at it directly. So we can just see that in any moment, there is simply an open space of existence. So if you just look around, there are forms appearing. So within the room, there are forms. There could be furniture, there could be light coming through a window. There's awareness of the body mind, there's awareness of thoughts, maybe the awareness of emotions. And the awareness of all those forms is the awareness of the impersonal, infinite being, which is just like an ocean. It's like an infinite ocean, and everything appears within that as a wave. So every form is like a form on the ocean of impersonal awareness. And that's already fully known. But it's just that you've been told that you're Katerina, that you're a human being, that you dwell in a body, that the thoughts and emotions are yours, they're going on in the body, when actually all of that is fake, because all along you've just remained as the infinite, impersonal, timeless, indestructible being within which the forms appear, including the body mind. The body mind, you can actually see the body mind as being an object along with all other objects. So there's awareness of the sofa or the awareness of the table or the computer screen, and then there's awareness of this body mind. And there's awareness, so there's the technology of the computer, and then there's the technology of the body mind. The body mind has certain capabilities, like it has the senses, it has movement, the organs of action. And so it's really just seeing that everything is already complete, but the biggest aspect is already totally known for you. And the test really is in experiencing from effortless being. And when you're experiencing from effortless being, the other aspects are peripheral, really, because you're already functioning from effortless being, which is why the energy is being withdrawn from the dualistic realm. So you're no longer fueling the dualistic content, which is disturbing. So the thoughts or the emotions, which relate to the sense of individuality, they're no longer being fueled. So it's as you've pulled the plug on them, which is the most important thing, because that's really the simplicity of your true nature. And then there's the option. Really, it's only a matter of seeing things in a slightly different way. So if you look at the forms in the room, it's just knowing that you're the open space, like this ocean of awareness within which the forms appear, and they're just appearing in this space. So you could say there could be awareness of some thoughts arising, and then there could be awareness of some emotions, and then there could be awareness of the objects in the room, and then there could be a bit further away, say, a view through a window, and then there could be a distant landscape, or there could be the moon in the sky, or the sun in the sky, or stars in the sky. And they're all objects appearing within this infinite field or ocean of awareness, which you remain as. And you just remain as that impersonal field, and then everything appears within that, including the body mind. But the simplicity of seeing that, it's already fully available. So it's only by virtue of the fact that you are already the infinite open space of awareness and beingness that there's awareness of anything. And it's already arising within the ocean of awareness you've always been. So all the forms are just like these waves. So there are waves which, like, there are shorter waves. So there could be a thought, which is like a little wave. Then there could be a sound, which could be a slightly longer wave. And then there could be, the duration of something longer, like a lifespan. And then there could be, then it's like inert objects and things, like the lifespan of rocks or the earth or, the sun. But everything is arising as a wave, and but you're the ocean, you're the totality of the ocean within which all those waves appear. It's just that nobody told us that when we went to school.
Right.
They all told you're Katerina.
Yeah.
It's being reinforced because everyone we meet, they're talking to you as though they're the person. Oh yes, I've got to go down to the shops, and all of this personalized content, which most people are preoccupied with. But it's fantastic that you've done the most important thing, which is you've disconnected your energy from the dualistic realm.
Yeah, I've been reading all those books all those years, and it suddenly clicked to me.
Fantastic.
It just became obvious one day that all the suffering is about mind movies. You know,
Yes,
it just the distinction that this thing is not part of the reality. It's not happening. It's part of a mind movie, and it
yes.
became clear. And ever since, it's really clear. I see through that immediately.
Fantastic.
Difference between actuality, what is really happening, and the mind movies, which
Yes.
run all day long. But
Yeah,
I just see it, and it doesn't cannot disturb me anymore. It just
fantastic.
happened one day. I don't know how.
Well, that's wonderful. But well, it's really because you've become familiar with effortless being. So just resting as effortless being, um, automatically you disconnect your energy from the mind movies, and from the emotions as well. So it's very easy to see it then, because those movies and the emotions which accompany them, they're only fueled by our own energy. And it's
Yeah,
only
yeah,
when if we keep going to the cinema, then we'll keep watching the movies, but we don't need to go. Like
right,
it takes effort to go to the movies, but it takes no effort not to go. So it's easy just to remain as effortless being. Or if you want a bit of entertainment, then you can do that. It's optional, but you do it on your own terms. So you can create experiences which are, much more uplifting, and things like creativity or love, compassion. They're the kind of things which aren't energetically depleting.
yeah,
So it's fantastic, really, the way it's happened.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The only problem is that I don't feel. Yeah, if there's. I was expecting a shift in perception. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it's so subtle, actually, because it tends to be, well, you've experienced a degree of a change, because if you take someone who, where self-realization seems to be a massive shift, it's usually someone who's in deep mental or emotional turmoil. And then they learn where the off switch is for the mind movies. And then it seems like a massive change. For you, there has been a shift, because the energy which was previously running those movies has been disconnected, so you've turned it off. But in a sense, self-realization is very simple, and it's kind of um, it's it's just very subtle in one sense, because in fact it's less than subtle, because you don't actually change, because you just remain as the infinite being you've always been. It's just that you don't believe any longer that you're existing as a separate individual, because you're this open space of awareness. So you've always been the open space of awareness. It's just that you were told that it was Katerina, when that sense of existence, and as you say, the sense of the me, it's a sense of the infinite I, really, the I of the I am. That's really what you've known all along. So there is no shift into that, because it's what you've always been. It's just been a case of mistaken identity. It's just that people have been telling you all along that you're Katerina and that you're existing as a separate human being, and then there's this world outside. But then you discover that actually everything you've ever known about the world, all the people, everything that's arising, including the body mind, is just arising within the infinite open space of awareness you've always been. So it's almost embarrassing in one way to kind of own up to the fact that you hadn't noticed that before, and you took all the nonsense from all the conditioning and education system and the media and everything, which has told us that we're these separate individuals, and that you probably don't watch the TV because you find that it's well, it's just, in one way it's hilarious, in another way it's just so stupid because it's just reinforcing all these ideas. You see how people's attention is being put on things like, suffering and conflict and all of these
Yeah,
kind of things.
we haven't opened the TV for 10 years now, me and my
Fantastic.
husband. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Only our son uses the TV for cartoons.
Yeah, that's okay. The cartoons are okay. Huh.
So I just wanted to ask you something that I've been thinking about a lot. I know it's an invitation from the mind to go to thinking, because I want to figure it out, but I will ask it anyway,
Of course.
because it's about free will.
Mm-hmm.
It's a question that I have ever since I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think? It seems like there's no free will because there's not a me to have a free will. There's not a person to have. But on the other hand, when you operate in the dualistic realm, it also feels like there is free will. So it always confuses me.
Mm.
In the sense, is there anything that can be done for self-realization, for example, or all I can do is just sit back and watch how things unfold? I don't know. It's something that confuses me still.
Well, because you're the infinite being, it's a field of infinite possibilities, really. So it can be experienced in a lot of different ways. So if you take the dualistic realm, for instance, so Katerina is like a character in a computer game almost. It's like there's this computer game. It's like an energy game which is going on. And the more you play that game and the more you invest in that game, then the more you have experiences as though you're existing as a human being. And so a lot of that seems to go by itself. So the more we adopt the sort of mainstream programming, which is telling us what we should think, we should feel, how we should experience, the more we become invested in that aspect, then the less freedom there appears to be, because we're just operating on a number of programs which have been installed. So if we're doing what most people do, go to work, go to the pub, go on holiday, do all the conventional things, watch TV, watch the films, go shopping, all of that, and believe that wholeheartedly that you are a human being in time and space, then there doesn't appear to be much free will. But because we remain as the infinite being, as we withdraw the investment from the personal realm, you realize that there's much more freedom, because there's actually more freedom in the dualistic realm as we withdraw the investment. So we can experience the dualistic realm selectively. So we can experience the aspects we really like. So we can experience love, unity, compassion, infinite possibilities, and all of that's available when we cancel the subscription to the sort of programmed version, which is mental and emotional turbulence, conflict, fear, all of those things. So you find it's it's never helpful to believe that there is no free will and believe that it's all going by itself, because that's just really disempowering, because we're experiencing a game effectively. And however because you're the infinite being, you're kind of putting filters in your experience, and those filters are giving us the experience depending on the filters which are installed. So that you could say when we take delivery of the human body, there's a filter which is installed by our parents, which is a filter of individuality. So by the age of around 2, most things are being experienced through that filter of individuality. Most, the children believe they really are the body mind by then, and they, they get pretty upset by it. So it's really also seeing that as you are the infinite being, there's a certain experience which is underway at the moment, which you could say is the experience of the human realm. But that also is an experience of limited duration. So there are certain rules and aspects at play, because we've got on that ride. It's like the human lifespan is like a ride where it's available to us, and we have the thrills and spills of that experience. When that ride is over, then we still remain as the infinite field of impersonal being. It's just that depending on where we become consciously sort of free, we can experience in different ways. So we can, a lot of people remain in the personal realm, and it seems as though they're sort of recycled through the reincarnation cycle and then back to planet Earth. Where there's freedom from duality, then you can move more into being like the director of your own movie. So you don't have like a little part in the dualistic realm. You can redefine things. So there isn't really a simple answer to the question on free will, because it depends on how many filters there are operating, and at which point in that sequence. So in terms of the koshas, you could say, well, our infinite nature, you could say, our infinite nature is attributeless, so it has no qualities. So you could say, if we just remain as that without activating the koshas, that's a field of infinite potential. So anything can happen there.
Yeah.
If we experience the body of bliss, you could say actually there's no free will in the body of bliss other than to experience bliss, because that's all that's available in the body of bliss. There aren't, there are no other experiences. It's just the simplicity of pure bliss. The body of wisdom, or effortless being, is where all forms arise equally and effortlessly. So there isn't the limitation of the dualistic realm operating there, because it's a field of unity. But if we venture into the dualistic realm, then the dualistic realm is much more limited, but it depends on the sort of frequency that we're experiencing. Because say in the mental realm, because the koshas each have a structure of frequencies which are based on the colors of the rainbow. So it's red at the bottom, and then it goes red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. So on the bottom level, in the red zone, you could say an example of that would be like conflict, preoccupation, mental preoccupation, anger, addictions, that kind of thing. If we move up through the frequencies to the top of the mental body, which is the astral realm, you could be experiencing as an orb, which is there's a knowing of the totality of existence, but there's still the impression that there's like a little boundary, which is the boundary of the orb, but it's the same inside as it is outside. So that's, you could say, is total freedom in one way, or almost total freedom, because there's still there's a slight element of separation just by the boundary of the orb. But it's really a field of infinite possibilities. And so the main thing really in terms of enjoyment is to exercise your freedom from your spiritual sovereignty. So it's actually um, accepting that you're the one who calls the shots. You're not dependent on anyone else's belief system. There are no teachers who are actually delivering absolute truth, because the only absolute truth that there is the truth of our own beingness, the truth of our own existence, which is a field of infinite potential. There's nothing in the dualistic realm. You know, if somebody says, oh, there is free will, and somebody says there isn't, somebody says you're a human being, somebody says, no, you're a field of infinite consciousness. They're all options of experience. And you know, if somebody is deeply invested in individuality, and you know, you say to them, well, actually, you know, did you know you're not really a human being, you're an infinite field of consciousness, you might get a punch on the nose, because they wouldn't like that idea. But it's really the key thing really is to function from consciously from a field of infinite freedom. And then if you wish to place boundaries in that you place the boundaries where you wish to have the boundaries, so you can have that specific experience. And when you function from sovereignty, you realize you can remove all the boundaries.
So it has to do with where are you functioning from?
Yes.
If you identify with the truth or with a person.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you could say that the dualistic realm it's a realm where we have the option to invest our energy into it, because the only energy available is one's own energy. And then you can use that to fuel different experiences. So you can use it to fuel the sense of individuality, and that whole realm. Or you can function mainly from impersonal being, which is what you're doing actually, you know, because you've withdrawn your energetic investment from the dualistic realm. That's really unplugged all the suffering. And then but you can redefine it. So everything in the dualistic realm, I'm sure you've already done this actually, which is you've unplugged from the suffering, but you've maintained the aspects which are really delightful. So, you know, the love you have for your family, everything, you know, about the human experience you really like, you maintain that.
Yeah.
But so it's a selective process really. And because you're the sovereign being, you're the one who decides how it is and how you wish to experience it.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people inviting you to believe their version of life, but there is no supreme authority in the dualistic realm. Um, the only benefit really of listening to quite a few different teachers is that you're listening to things from different perspectives,
Yeah.
and
And
then
it
you get to
helps. Sometimes it's
yeah,
helpful.
well, you get to choose whether you wish to adopt those ideas or not. If somebody is putting forward ideas, you know, such as, oh, everything's going by itself, there's no free will, it's all just happening. If you adopt that idea, it's not going to be a lot of fun, really.
Mhm.
Whereas if you accept your sovereignty and realize that it can be on your own terms, then that can be like a playground where you just have a lot of fun. So it's you know, because you're the sovereign being, you get to decide really. But it's just that there are a lot of, well, supposed authorities, you know, like governments, the media, you know, various human constructs, spiritual teachers, religions, and they're all pretending that it's a particular way. But it's just like a sweet shop, really. and you get to decide which sweets you want to buy. You know, but if you go into a sweet shop and there's something in there, you know, like aniseed that you don't really like, then you don't buy that one. And in the same way, if there's a religion which is very restrictive, or you know, a teaching which is very restrictive, you get to choose whether you adopt it or not. But there is nothing, there is no supreme authority in that sense, except oneself.
Yeah. So, in that sense, I don't know, the question seems silly, but is there anything that can be done that can help self-realization?
Well,
Or,
my feeling is that there is, yes, because really, you know, you get a lot of teachers who say, oh, there's nothing you can do, it just happens. Really, it's just that they don't know how to make the distinction between impersonal being, which is already fully present, and the personal realm of experience. So it's all kind of mixed up. Um, and so they don't really understand how to make the distinction. But if you, the way most people are realizing their true nature from watching, you know, my videos and things, is because it isn't using concepts. Lots of teachers are using analogies and that kind of thing. But when the simplicity of effortless being is known directly, so when you just strip away the dualistic elements, so you just allow people to see the forms arising equally and effortlessly in the timeless moment, that's something that they're knowing directly. And it's always been there. It's just that the effortlessness has seemingly been obscured by effort,
yeah, yeah,
but the effortlessness has always been there. So it can be shown that effortless being has been there all along. And then it's the realm of effort, the dualistic realm is optional. And then you can show how that can be experienced directly as well. So, you know, if we, you know, we can, like if we take the backdrop there is effortless awareness of the characters, and they're just simply known by the simplest form of awareness. But if we engage the mind, so if we step from effortless being into the dualistic realm, we could then start to describe or comment on those characters and on the background. Oh, that's a really nice background. I really like it. It's so colorful. And the characters, though, they're quite sweet, really. You know, I like the different colors, and you know, so you can get into a little story there. The mind movies, um, and but you see, what you can demonstrate very easily is the distinction between effortless being and the mind. And when that distinction is made, then it's actually very easy to see that effortless being, their true infinite impersonal nature, has been there all along. And then what you see is optional is the dualistic realm, whether we engage in the personal realm of experience. That's the option. But lots of spiritual teachings begin with the personal realm. And so the teachers are saying to them, well, there's nothing you can do. So all they're doing really is they're reinforcing personalization, and they're making them feel completely disempowered. And some of the teachers who do that, it's quite a cruel way, but some people do realize their true nature, because the frustration and anger that arises from the feeling that they're completely impotent and there's nothing they can do can give rise to a sense of relaxation, where they can no longer hold on to those ideas and those emotions. And when they're dropped because they're so unpleasant and horrible, um, then what's left is effortless being. So people sometimes realize their true nature as a result of those kind of teachings, but it's quite a cruel and unpleasant way to experience it, because you go into the most horrible, disturbing kind of experience and extreme forms of limitation. And it's through being tortured by those, really, that the torture is, it's the same as, if people are involved in an accident, or, if, people have experiences which are very unpleasant, they sometimes disconnect from identification with the body, because it isn't a nice experience. And it's the same really in terms of realization when people are using pointing to do with pain and discomfort and, impotence. But it isn't necessary to do that, because you can show everyone what effortless being is already, because everyone is just resting as the effortless impersonal being all along. It's just that they're also fueling this little individual, right, the personal realm, and they're investing in that, and it's only their own energy that is keeping it running. When they withdraw the investment, then it's game over, really. It's just back to seeing that they're effortless being, and then the dualistic realm is something they can experience if they wish to, on their terms.
Yeah. Yes, this distinction that you do was very, very helpful for me also, to see that first there's the infinite being, and then there's the option for the dualistic realm. This
Yeah.
distinction was extremely helpful for me.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. No, there
I
is
think
something.
it was one of the things that it made the difference, because otherwise it was like I was this human that was trying to get enlightened and efforting, and nothing was happening. And then listening to you, I realized, okay, so awareness, impersonal awareness is here first and always. And
Impersonal awareness is always first. Yeah.
yeah, that was very helpful for me.
Yeah. And it's always only been impersonal awareness. It's just that we've put on a little costume of personalized awareness and we pretend that's real. But it's just like having a little, it's like having a little dressing up box, and you put your little personal suit on and then off you go, like a little wind-up toy.
Yeah, right.
It's great you're so clear, Katerina. That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's really, life is so is easy, we have been suffering for many years for no reason whatsoever. There was no reason.
No, it's crazy, isn't it?
Sometimes I still can't believe why we all have suffered so much when we could have not. You know, it's strange that we
It
consent
is.
to the suffering
Yeah.
when it's not necessary. It's
No,
just a choice, but we were never told
no.
that.
I like the thing that Lester Levinson says. He says the human experience, he says it's like getting a needle and sticking it in yourself, and it really hurts.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then you take it out and you say, oh, that feels good now.
Yeah, and Lester also has another something like that. He says you grab a very hot pan, hot, and you
Yes.
keep grabbing it, and you say, "Oh God, it's burning my hands," and all you have to do is just let it go,
Yeah.
and stop holding it.
Yes.
The burning will stop. It's exactly like
Yes.
that. Yeah,
Well, the hot pan is personalization, isn't it, really? That's all it
yeah,
is.
yeah,
But and it's very easy to let go of personalization because we never were that. We've always been impersonal. Always been impersonal, effortless, timeless being. And so it's just that it's a little excursion into a duality where we have these experiences of limitation, and we create this fake character. It's like a phantom, really, individuality, because it never really existed. It was always it was always the infinite impersonal being all along. Well, it's so nice the way things have become so clear for you. I really, I love that.
Yeah, I like it too. Yeah, it's that sense of well-being that is behind and in the background all the time. And it's
Mm.
not that difficult things in the conventional way are not happening because, life goes on and things happen.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, there is this well-being background all the time.
Yes.
So that's nice. Yeah.
It is. Well, it's just that realization that it doesn't really matter what goes on in the dualistic.
Yeah.
So whether it's in the mental, emotional, physical, astral, etheric, and physical, it doesn't really matter because it's only like a little computer game. It's a little movie.
Right.
Well, I hope you're going to be helping many people with the clarity you have now.
You think so?
Absolutely, yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, it's just being available, really, just to,
Yeah.
just to see if people come to you and just recognizing the ones who are ready, because you'll know the ones who are ready.
Yeah. It's strange because ever since I was a teenager, I all those things were very interesting for me, and nobody else was interested in those matters. Not my family, not my sisters. I have two sisters, and we're really close.
Yeah.
But they don't. They don't. They're not interested in
No.
those things. And I haven't met many people in real life, like family or close friends,
No.
who would be interested in those matters. More,
No.
only friends from far away, from seminars, from retreats,
Yes.
not close.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they will be any people to talk about these matters, but let's see what happens.
Yeah. Really, there is definitely a pattern to the people I have conversations with because they're all loners really, like you and I, which is you find yourself in a situation, you love everyone around you, but they're on a completely different wavelength.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's always been like that.
Yeah.
But you might have a little job to do.
Like what?
Well, the infinite being might have something in store for you to do. So you just have to see what shows up. But there's definitely a reason for you being in the dualistic realm, and it'll be revealed to you.
Well, David, it's interesting that you say that because I had this feeling also that maybe, in one hand, I don't. I find it difficult to believe that I would ever be of any help to others about self-realization. But on the other hand, I had this feeling that maybe there would be a way to talk about later in the future, to talk about those things in my own way, and
Yes,
my own way maybe for some people would be useful.
yes,
Just like your way, because you're saying all those things that many, many teachers say, but your way is really different. You know, it's a completely different perspective.
mm.
And I was thinking, who knows? Maybe in the future I could find another way to explain things that could help some people, at least.
Well, exactly, because that's how it is. Uh, it's all really based on whether there's compatibility. Some people feel comfortable and there's a kind of resonance, and it just happens like that. And the other aspect of it is just being truly oneself, that you don't, there doesn't need to be any trying. It's just whatever you need, it just comes to you, and that's how it's most effective, really. And it's quite magical, really, the way that happens.